Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sarah Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today, we've got 3 fantastic Whopper Topper collections from our friends at Hunkydory. We have beautiful blooms, heartwarming hugs, and something for him. And just have a look. If I tilt this up, you can see how thick this pad is. All 3 of these are absolutely packed with focals and sentiments and borders. So let's have a closer look, and we can start with our heartwarming hugs. So I'll move these 2 sets out of the way, and we can use this as our first example. Now each of these 3 sets will have 36 topper sheets, 3 each of 12 different designs. Now each sheet has luxury foiling on it. You can see if I move this, that beautiful gold around the outside edges, and die cut elements. So these will pop right out very easily. And everything is in here for creating gorgeous card focals and accents. Something for the front of your card and something for the inside too. So that's the heartwarming hugs. Let's have a look at our beautiful blooms. This one is absolutely stunning. So the flowers all have kind of a watercolor effect in here, very sophisticated, very elegant. And again, all of the parts and pieces that you need for decorating the front of your card. Now this one happens to have some silver foiling around the outside edge, so that gives another nice accent to this. So the beautiful blooms are indeed absolutely stunning. Then we've got something for him. Now what I really like about this collection is that you have a nice range of versatility in here. So you've got some playful images in here, some that are a little bit more serious, and then of course you've got some of the sports in here as well. Really nice variety so that you've got something for the guys in your life. So that's the something for him set. Now with all 3 of these collections, you've got lots of versatile pages, loads of images that are quick and easy to use for card making and other paper crafts too. These collections I think are really perfect for busy and beginning card makers, as well as those of us who just really appreciate having a stash of focals on hand for some instant inspiration. So I'm looking forward to exploring some of that inspiration with you today, and I'm really glad you're here. Come play with us. So I have to tell you, probably the hardest part of preparing for today's webisode was choosing which of the Whopper Topper sheets to use for my cards for this video. There are so many choices, and these pads make it really easy to create beautiful cards quickly and easily. But because you are spoiled for choice, it's really hard to make a decision. So tell me if this sounds familiar to you. I was looking through the Beautiful Blooms topper pad, and I spotted this design, and I really like hydrangeas. So I thought, oh, this will be perfect. So I pulled this one out to use. And then I spotted this one, which I think is just beautiful. I really love those colors, and the circular shape was really interesting. And then also these corners on here. But then this one is also really beautiful, and I love the pinks and the purples in there, and also some of the sentiments were just perfect. But then I also really like tulips a whole lot. So I pulled this one out too. So as you can imagine, the floor of my crafting room was pretty much covered in papers and Whopper Topper sheets. And I was having a wonderful time and eventually narrowed it down to this beautiful design here, which you can see I've used for this card. Now what I really like about this sheet in particular are the colors. This watercolor style illustration just brings out so many different colors that you can work with. So you've got the beautiful rich dark blues going into purples. There's also some light pinks in here which you can emphasize. You could also go with some of the yellows and greens in the background there. The other thing I really like is the size of this focal. So this measures 4 inches by 6 inches, and the cards that I make are often using hot off the presses blank white cards, and these measure 5 inches by 6.5 inches. So when I punch out that focal piece, as you can see, I can pop this right on here, and it's going to have a lot of presence. It's also got this wonderful frame around here, which means that I've kind of got something ready to go. Now I like to pop these up on foam tape, and that's going to give a little bit more dimension and a little bit more presence on there as well. So you could simply take this and place it onto a blank white card, and it would be lovely. Now what you can also do, if you wanted to cover the front of your card with a coordinating cardstock, and I just chose this light blue because I thought it would work beautifully with some of the blues in the focal. But of course, you could pick out some of the other colors in here, go with the burgundy or go with a contrast, go with a yellow or the green in there as well. And I like this because it's a great option for those who are new to card making or maybe just need something really quickly. And if you want to spice things up a little more, you can also bring in some pattern paper. So also this weekend, I was going through my pattern papers, as you do, and I was flipping through the Songbirds paper pack. Now this is from hot off the press, and you can see these beautiful designs on here. Well, the watercolor style just works beautifully with the watercolor style of the Beautiful Blooms topper pad. So I pulled out this sheet and thought that this was just a perfect match for my focal. So let me bring this in. This is the section that I use down here at the bottom. So I've got this really nice faux texture on here. The colors go beautifully. Of course, because this is a collage style paper, I could use lots of different sections from this. Now, if we flip this over, this would also look really great on here. There is also another one. Of course, I couldn't stop there. I had to keep going with those really rich dark blues. And of course, you could pick up some of the oranges in there. Let me show you just one more. I won't do this all day. I've already done it. So take a look at this. You could also take advantage of some of the light colors in there too. So there are a lot of different options just depending on, first of all, how much time you have, and also which colors you want to bring out, which elements you want to emphasize, and of course the style of your card. So the card itself here is a cutaway style, which is where you simply trim off a portion of the card front. So I've cut off about 2 inches from the front panel here. Then I covered the rest of the card front with that beautiful pattern paper, and I also lined the inside of the card panels with more of that same sheet. Now I matted the focal onto a sheet of cardstock from the Mystic Moon pack, and I used foam tape for that. So I've got foam tape in between my focal and this mat. And again, that's just going to give me a little extra dimension. And I placed it slightly closer to the right-hand side so that I could add this floral border going along the edge. For the rest of the card front, I just have some of the silver diamond sparkles gemstones. Those are also from Hunkydory, and those are positioned at the top and the bottom corners for a little bit of shine. Then let's go back to the inside. I mean, just look at this stunning paper. This is so beautiful. And from here, I really don't need to have a whole lot more other than the happy birthday die. Now I have the other border going along the edge here. And of course, the back side of this cardstock mat shows a beautiful blue that just happens to match our little bird on there. So as you can see, it's easy and it's an elegant design thanks to this focal that just makes everything so quick and simple to do, whether you're going with plain cardstock, plain white card, or going into your pattern paper stash. This card is also using a topper from the Beautiful Blooms set, and it's this one right here. And I've also used some pattern paper, but this time from the Meadow Blooms paper pack from hot off the press. And I chose the yellow and green design to coordinate with the yellow flowers in the topper. But of course there are some other possible combinations, so I thought we could take a quick look. I'll move aside my card just for a minute. We can have a little bit of a play. So let's see how this looks on this beautiful blue with those gorgeous butterflies and little floral sprigs. I think this would work beautifully as well. Now, if you like greens like I do, this is an easy choice too, and you can take advantage of some of the lights and the darks in that green background paper. And then, of course, more of the yellow. This time you've got a smaller pattern than the one I originally chose. with some small yellow flowers and also some little blue flowers in there too. So lots to choose from, and you really can't go wrong. Now with this one, I've selected the design that's got a little bit larger background floral elements on there, and then some of the kind of music notes and some faux texture on the background. I also inked around the outside edge here with the Midas Gold ink pad. Now I have a border that's going across the middle, which I matted onto white cardstock just to give it a little bit more dimension. Now the focal is 4.5 inches square, so I kind of edged that over to one side of my card. And this gave me room to add in some embellishments like these paper flowers. Now these are from 49 and Market. These are the cream florets. Of course, these come in lots of different colors too, so you have even more decision making, but in a good way. Then I've got some more gemstones on here and a narrow bow just glued right on top. For my card inside, I've got another portion of that beautiful pattern paper and a sentiment die cut, which I've popped up on some foam tape. Now, if we can shift gears a little bit away from our beautiful blooms and to something for him. Well, I was going through the Something for Him Whopper Topper pad, and again, how to choose. There are so many. But I really like this cool sailing image, and even more, I like the theme of seizing the day, not just for the guys, but for anyone. So this focal, like our previous one, is 4.5 inches square, and it fits perfectly on the main panel of this side step card. So I'll flip it over and you can see where the rest of it is. Now this card format is made with a die, so let me show you this. It's just one solid piece, so you'll choose your cardstock, run it through your die cutting machine, and then you can flip this over and see where your mountain and your valley folds are going to be. And of course, I've got a sample piece here, tried and true, a little bit battered looking by now. But one thing I'd like to point out, when you're doing your mountain and valley folds, I really suggest you have a bone folder on hand, and that's going to give you some nice crisp lines and help this to lay flat. And from here, all you need to do is just add your embellishments on top of it. And I couldn't resist, since I had out the Something for Him Whopper Topper pack, to try this with this really fun bust. So this could go along here. And then I also have the border, which you could glue along here. You could cut it down. You could have it going along all of those side steps. So a lot of fun and a lot of possibility there. So back to our card. You can see here that I die cut this shape from cardstock from the Mystic Moon pack. And that's giving me two nice shades of blue. So kind of a marine blue and a darker blue. And my focal is overlapping the side step, and then the sentiments are overlapping on the steps. And then I've accented some of the other steps with some of the gold gemstones. Then for the card inside, I have another strip of cardstock and the Adventure Awaits message. Our last two projects are using elements from the Heartwarming Hugs Whopper Topper pack. And for the card, I picked this adorable little birthday bear and combined her with some pattern paper from the Meadow Blooms paper pack. Now the focal is almost, but not quite, 4.5 inches square. So I had room for both the focal and the sentiment down at the bottom. I've popped up both of those with foam tape, and then I inked around the outside edge of the card with that Midas Gold ink pad. I could have stopped at that point because it's a really sweet card as it is, but I thought it would also be fun to add something a little more like this paper bow. So this bow is made with a new to me die set called the bow die. And this gives you the ability to create two different sizes of bow. So you've got a large and a small. The large one is what I've used on the card, and then the small is what I've used on this little jewelry gift box. It's a really easy design to do, and I think it adds a nice touch onto your cards, gift packages, tags, lots of different options. So I thought what we could do is take a closer look at the die, and then I'll do a little demo for you. So I'll move aside this piece, and we can take a look at the bow that I've got on here. The larger one's a little bit easier to see. So with your dies, these two are going to create the larger of the two bows. These two will be the smaller. And then these rectangles are going to be the piece that wraps around the center of the bow. I've got one of the gemstones on here, but you can see where that centerpiece will go right here. Now on the back of the package, you will also have the written instructions for this too. But let's take a closer look. So first of all, with the bow being in a couple of different parts, you'll need to die cut those out. So I've got my loopy part, that's what I call it. I've got the base piece, and then I also have the piece that will wrap around the center of the bow. This piece doesn't do anything. It's just going to lay on there. So you don't have to worry about that. This piece you'll wrap around at the end. So I'll scoot that away for now, and we can concentrate on this top portion, which is a shape that looks kind of like a pair of goggles. So what I'm going to do with this is pull the loops around to glue in the center. That sounds a little confusing, so I'll demo it for you. First of all, what adhesive to use? You can use an extra sticky tape. That would be great. I also like the the Creative Expressions acrylic glue in the Crafter's Companion Precision Applicator bottle. This is my go-to, and I'll show you why. So what I'm going to do is flip this over. I want this tab to come to the center and then this tab to come to the center. I don't want to fold anything. I'm just going to kind of roll it. So I need to align this to go like so, and then glue it down. So let me get a little bit of this glue on here. And then I'm just going to simply roll this here and position it in place. Now, I like to use something else to hold it in place. As a crafter, I have, for some reason, about 100 of these little clothespins. I'm sure a paper clip would work as well, but for some reason, I don't have any of those. But I do have wooden clothespins. So I'm just going to use that to hold it in place. You can see that there's some space in here that I haven't creased it completely. And then I'll let this set to dry, and then I'll come and do the other side. So I've got one that's already in process. I'll take off my clothespin here, and you can see where I've got that. And then I'll just come along and do the same on the other side. And get some of that adhesive, and then fold this back too. Get my trusty, crafty clothespin, and then let that set aside to dry as well. And then when that's all dry, I'll have my bow. And then from here, what I can do is take my little band and glue it around the center and wrap that around there if I want to, or as we have seen here, you can accent that center of the bow with one of the gemstones or another dimensional embellishment if you wanted to. So this is the card front, and then for the card inside, I have some coordinating cardstock. I have another piece of that pattern paper, and then the border and the sentiment on there. Now for my little gift box here, I've got, of course, that little bow, same cardstock combination, and then I've used one of the sentiment die cuts, which just fits perfectly on here, and that's popped up with a little bit of foam tape too, just to make a nice presentation, maybe to go along with our birthday card. And that is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Hunkydory for these very inspiring and beautiful topper collections. I had a wonderful time, as I think you can tell. A special thanks to you for joining me here today. We're really glad you're here, and we're so happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.